Hello everyone and welcome back to the good stuff. We are continuing the Morphy saga and we are continuing our 1858 simultaneous exhibition where Morphy faced 8 opponents simultaneously, obviously, in Birmingham after the great tournament. So here Morphy's opponent is James Freeman, and I couldn't find a single reference to this gentleman. Most of these players are not the absolute top players like we already mentioned in the previous videos, but they are people of great importance. But I could not find a single reference to James Freeman. I searched everything. I searched on chess history, all the darkest corners on the internet, but I was unable to do so. So yeah, there's a lot more of you guys. If you find any reference on James Freeman, do share, and I will also then reshare that. So thank you for that. Now, getting back to this game, it's quite a beauty. A lot of people say about this game, not a lot, as I don't think a lot of people even have seen this game, but that it's sort of not an unpublished, but maybe a forgotten gem in the collection of Paul Morphy's games. So really a wild one. Let's check it out. Hope you guys enjoy it. Morphy with the white pieces opens with e4. And for those of you, sorry about that, for those of you who are maybe new to chess and the channel in general, when a blindfold exhibition is held, the player holding the simultaneous exhibition will usually have the white pieces on all of the boards. This is not an absolute rule, but it is something that mostly happens. So here, e4 by Morphy, we have e5, bishop to c4, going for the bishop's opening, bishop to c5, and now b4. This is not the Evans gambit, as the knights have not yet been developed, but this is the MacDonald gambit, coined by Alexander MacDonald, the most famous Irish player. And interestingly, even today, Ireland only has one grandmaster who actually is from Russia, Alexander Baburin. But I don't know why, but not really a popular game in Ireland, it would seem. So maybe that also will change in the future. So the bishop is under attack. He denies Morphy the pleasure of the accepted gambit, so he goes back, bishop to b6, and now knight to f3. Morphy goes after the pawn and d6, and interestingly, this position has never been reached again. We have d4, Morphy strikes in the center, we have e captures, knight captures, and now knight to f6. Now going after Morphy's pawn, and Morphy knight to c3, defends it. And now, while black could, continue the game in a few different ways, black decides to castle first, and it is a perfectly fine move. Morphy castles as well, and now comes knight captures on e4. This is not a piece sacrifice. Black will win back the piece, but maybe better was just continuing development. Rook e8, knight bd7, and so on. But okay, this is where the fun starts. We have knight captures on e4. Knight captures on e4, Morphy grabs the knight, and now of course d5 is coming with an attack on both pieces. So d5, Freeman wants to win back his piece, and now bishop to g5 first, attacking Morphy's queen. And now you should just play queen to d7, and then Morphy moves one of the pieces. He has to give one back, and the game continues. However, Freeman decided to fully challenge Morphy, and he played queen to e8, now saying that your two pieces are under attack. If you go after the pawn here, then I'm going to play c6, push back your bishop, and then I'm going to win the knight on e4. Morphy says, okay, feel free to do that. Bishop captures on d5, c6, attacking Morphy's bishop, but now Morphy just brings more pieces into the game. Rook to e1, already with a deadly threat. Now if the d5 bishop is captured, knight f6 check will just win the queen. So this is now a nice discovery. A double attack on the queen, captures, and after captures, just bishop captures, and this is just game. Queen can come to h5, check, for example, deliver checkmate. The knight is covering this square, so you cannot play bishop f5. This is game over. So after rook to e1, we have queen to d7. Here, Freeman says, all right, maybe the queen was better placed on d7, so I'm going to play queen to d7 now. And now, okay, the bishop is still under attack. If you move the bishop, then the knight is attacked twice. Freeman is winning back the piece either way, but Morphy says not so fast. Morphy plays knight to f6 with check. Now with the royal fork, and the knight has to be accepted. If you don't accept, white doesn't just capture the queen. White goes for checkmate right away, and there's no defense against this. Queen h7 is checkmate, and if you capture the knight, then just bishop captures, and queen to g5 will be checkmate. So after knight to f6 check, Morphy's knight must be accepted. So g captures on f6, and now bishop captures on f6. Again, with some nasty ideas of rook e3, rook g3 check, and it's game over. Black has no moves here. So here, queen to d6, just going after that bishop on f6 right away. And now, what do you play here? The bishop is still under attack, this bishop is under attack, so Morphy needs to play something. And Morphy plays another brilliancy here. He goes knight to e6. The idea behind knight to e6 is that he wants to block the g4 square. Now queen to g4 is a terrible threat, because queen to g4 will be checkmate. The king has no squares to go to, so you have to capture the knight, and you have to capture it, well, rather you should capture it with the bishop, otherwise you're just dead lost. Another option, instead of blocking with the knight, is also blocking with the bishop, and maybe even stronger, because now there are clear checkmating patterns here. For example, bishop captures, queen to d2 with the idea of queen g5 checkmate, and now after bishop to f5, preparing bishop to g6 to help out with the defense, it's still just checkmate. Queen g5 check, bishop to g6, and now knight to f5 is deadly. There's no defense against knight to h6 checkmate. But okay, when discussing these games, we have to remember Morphy played blindfold against 8 opponents simultaneously. So of course, he will not always find the quickest way, but he will always find a way. So here knight to e6 works just as fine. We have bishop captures, you have to capture, guard that g4 square, and now queen to h5, again threatening queen g5 checkmate. And here was the only moment in the game where black actually had the possibility of a defense. So feel free to pause the video here and try to find a reasonable defense for James Freeman while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on going for the immediate queen to f4. Also for those of you who just want to enjoy the show. However, Freeman went bishop captures on f2 first. And this is a bit different, because after queen to f4, you prevent queen g5 check. And now the problem is, after rook captures on e6, it doesn't seem like you have a good move for white. Because if you capture, then just captures with check, rook blocks, and this is checkmate. However, after queen to f4 and this rook captures on e6, that's always in the position, there is the very sneaky knight to d7. Now attacking the bishop on f6 twice, the rook is under attack, the bishop is under attack, and black is even better here. Point is that after you move the bishop, we're just going to capture the bishop on d5, and the rook is still under attack. Rook moves, you have to guard the f2 square, rook 8 to e8, and black is perfectly fine. Black is even winning here. So this was in the position. However, bishop captures on f2 check was played first, and it seems like it's the same idea. The queen is coming to f4, but it's not. It has one very big difference. Of course, Morphy has to decline the bishop. If the bishop is accepted, then queen captures on d5. And after queen h6, threatening checkmate, there's the very, very unpleasant queen to f5 check, king g1, and now queen to g6, defending checkmate and forcing now a queen trade. So instead, after this bishop captures on f2, Morphy played king to h1, but now his king on h1 is much safer. And this is a big problems for Mr. James Freeman. Because now queen to f4, he of course finds this, and other than this slight inaccuracy, there really wasn't a moment where black played poorly. I mean, for those days. So James Freeman is actually a very, very strong player. So Morphy continues with rook captures on e6, as he would in the line that we've already shown. And now, of course, you cannot capture because this just results in checkmate. So knight b to d7. Again, all of Morphy's pieces here are under attack, or en prise, as we say in chess. So bishop back to b2, and now comes bishop to d4. Now you see it's a bit different, because in that line the bishop was on b6, the queen was attacking f2, and the threat was the queen can capture with check. However, here the king is safely tucked in on h1, and you have to defend. So what do you play here? Bishop to d4 is what was played here. Capturing the rook is definitely better, but it's a very unpleasant move to play. For example, captures, and rook to f7, and this holds. It's very unpleasant, but it does hold. However, after this bishop to b2, we have bishop to d4. He wants to eliminate Morphy's dark square bishop right away to nullify any mating patterns, but this is a big problem. Because now Morphy has few ways to punish black, so feel free to pause the video and try to find either of the two ideas while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding either of the two ideas. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's either rook to e4 followed by rook to g4 check, of course, or just winning the bishop here on d4, or g3, and this is what was played in the game. By playing g3, Morphy deprives the black queen of all of the important squares to guard against checkmate. So you don't really have a good square for the queen here. If you try something like queen to f2, just moving the queen, queen g4 check, and now the bishop is lost. Not only is the bishop lost, but also it's just game. Just bishop captures and the queen is lost as well. So instead, after g3, we have knight to f6. This is the proper way to defend. The queen is now also under attack, but now Morphy just trades. G captures on f4, knight captures on h5, and bishop captures on d4. We have knight captures on f4, not c captures on d5. This is not good because of rook g1, and there's just too many problems here. You're getting checkmated. Knight g7, rook captures with check, king here, and now rook to h8 will be checkmate. So there's nothing to be done here. So after bishop to d4, we have knight captures on f4, and now, only now, rook to g1 with check. Knight to g6 blocking, and now it seems, okay, I'm gonna grab at least a little bit more material. But Morphy says, no problem. Rook captures on g6, or rather, rook e captures on g6. Now, this pawn cannot capture, it's pinned. Only the h pawn can capture, but now rook captures on g6 with check. King to h7 and rook g7 check. We have king to h6. If you go to h8, you're getting checkmated right away. We can even show that. Captures with check. A discovery from the bishop. King has to attack the rook. Now, again, rook g7 check forces the king into the corner. Now we capture here, and the king has no more squares available. You have to block with the rook, and then just bishop captures his checkmate. So after rook g7 with check, king to h6 was played, but now bishop to e4. And now it's two bishops and the rook against two rooks, with the black king having a terrible position there on h6, and it's going to be impossible to defend this. We have f5, advancing the passed pawn, blocking the light square bishop, bishop to d3, and now b6. We have rook to g3, and now rook to f7. We have bishop to e5 going after the king here, and rook to e8. Freeman brings the other rook into the game, but it is much too late for such things. So bishop to b4 check, king to h7, and rook to g5 now. Just going after some more material, and also black has no moves here. You don't have rook to e2, you don't have any counterplay along the back rank. There's just nothing to be done here. So rook e1 check was played, but Morphy just played king to g2, and now rook to g7. He offers a trade of rooks, but now bishop captures on f5. The f pawn was lost either way. So this comes with check, king h8, and now even h4, and black again without a move. Few more moves were played. Rook captures on g5, bishop captures, and now the rook is useless here on the second rank. This pawn is still defended, so nothing cool happening there. You can even blunder the rook. If rook e5, just bishop delivers check, picks up the rook. So here rook back to e8 was played, but now king to f3, and Morphy said, I'm just gonna march my king up the board, position my bishop beautifully here, and push the h pawn to victory. And so it was in this position on move 37 that James Freeman, who we know nothing about, resigned the game, and another excellent victory for Paul Morphy in this 8-man simultaneous exhibition showing. So yeah, here you resign because it's very, very straightforward. For example, rook f8, attack the bishop, king defends, and the black king can just, do whatever. h5 is coming, whatever black plays doesn't really matter. You're going to play captures, h6 is coming, and that's it. Whatever, king h8, bishop to d2, now going for this diagonal. You want to have a perfect setup for pushing the h pawn, and after whatever, you're just going to play bishop check here, and now you can just play this, and now it's just game over. So, of course, Mr. James Freeman knows this, and of course, it was in this position that he resigned. So yeah, another brilliant victory by Paul Charles Morphy in this 1848 simultaneous exhibition that took place in Birmingham. Hope you guys enjoyed it, as it really is 3 pieces Ampri, always a joy to see something like this. And yeah, I don't know, I actually don't remember seeing this game, so I imagine a lot of you are seeing it for the first time as well. So hope you enjoyed that. So I also wanted to mention the good people at Chessable created a course regarding my video on how to counter the London system. So if you want to check that out, it will be the first link in the description below. It's completely free, so you can check out some of the lines, pretty much all of the lines that I mentioned in the video. And they also include a way to counter Levy's counter to my London system, counter, so you can enjoy that as well and practice some of those lines. Like I said, it's completely free, so if you're interested in that, do check it out. First link in the description below. But yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Nina, Victoria, Vanessa Nicolaus, Mike Wagner, Farmers Engelhardt, Antonio Bacic, and Alan McBroom for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the Morphy saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.